Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Faisal Rahman with student number 145. Today I'm going to talk about Rush Hour 3. This movie is about two very different detectives who work together on a case. Along the way, they face challenges and funny moments because of their different cultures and ways of communicating. Rush Hour 3 is an action comedy movie. It stars Inspector Lee, a serious and disciplined Chinese detective, and Detective Carter, a funny and outgoing American cop. They travel to Paris to solve a crime involving an international gang. The movie is filled with action, humor, and lessons about working across cultural differences. This movie is perfect for studying intercultural communication. It shows how people from different cultures have unique ways of talking and behaving. These differences sometimes cause problems but also help the characters grow. It's a great example of how culture affects communication, teamwork, and relationships. Lee and Carter have very different styles of talking. Lee is calm, polite, and serious, while Carter is loud, funny, and very direct. Their differences lead to a lot of misunderstandings, but they also create funny moments. Carter often uses American slang and jokes, but Lee doesn't always understand them. On the other hand, Lee speaks in a formal and indirect way, which Carter finds confusing. For example, when Carter makes jokes about Lee's English, it creates tension. This shows how verbal communication style can clash between cultures. Nonverbal communication like gestures and facial expression are important in this movie. Lee uses small, subtle gestures, but Carter often doesn't notice them or misreads them. These show how nonverbal communication varies between cultures and can lead to funny or frustrating situations. The movie uses stereotypes to make us laugh. For example, Carter represents the loud, confident American, while Lee represents the disciplined, serious Chinese man. The stereotypes are exaggerated for comedy, but they also reflect real cultural differences that affect how people communicate. While the movie uses stereotypes for humor, it also challenges them. As the story goes on, we see that Lee can be funny and flexible, and Carter can be thoughtful and disciplined. This shows that stereotypes don't define people and that teamwork can help overcome cultural differences. Lee and Carter's cultural backgrounds shape who they are. Lee's Chinese identity emphasizes respect, discipline, and teamwork, while Carter's American identity values independence, creativity, and humor. These cultural traits influence how they act and communicate throughout the movie. As the movie goes on, Lee and Carter start to change. Lee becomes more open to humor and flexibility, while Carter learns to be more disciplined and thoughtful. This change shows how working together can help people learn from each other and grow. At this start, Carter seems more in control because he's loud and assertive, while Lee is quieter. But in Paris, they are both outsiders, and their roles shift depending on the situation. This shows how power dynamics can change in different cultural or social contexts. As the movie progresses, Lee's skills and knowledge of the case balance the power dynamic. The two detectives start to rely on each other's strengths, proving that mutual respect and teamwork can overcome power struggles. The movie takes place in China, the US, and France. Each location has its own culture, which affects how the characters behave and interact. For example, in Paris, both Lee and Carter struggle with language barrier and cultural differences, which adds to the humor and challenge. Language barriers are a big issue in the movie. Carter doesn't speak Mandarin or French, so he often relies on Lee to translate. This slows them down and creates funny misunderstandings. For example, Carter tries to use hand gesture to communicate, but they don't always work. Carter often sees things through an American point of view, which leads to a misunderstanding. For example, he assumes everyone will understand his jokes or way of thinking, but this is not always the case. These moments highlight the importance of being open to other perspectives. One scene perfectly illustrates this miscommunication. Let's jump into the clip.
We'll be asking the questions, old man. Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
You just said what?
I did not say what. I said you.
That's what I'm asking you.
And you is answering.
Shut up! You!
Yes?
Not you, him! What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you!
I am me. He's me. And I'm you.
This leads to confusion because of their different communication styles. Carter's directness clashes with the man's reserved approach. Another moment involves Sister Agnes, who helps translate when Carter and Lee are having trouble communicating in French. However, even though Sister Agnes tries her best to help, Carter's loud and direct American style doesn't always match the more reserved French way of speaking. This scene shows how cultural context affects communication. One way to improve their teamwork would be for Carter to learn some basic Mandarin or French. Even knowing a few phrases could help him communicate better and show respect for other cultures. It also reduces his dependence on Lee. Lee and Carter could benefit from learning more about each other's cultures. By understanding each other's norms and values, they could avoid conflicts and work together more effectively. And for the conclusion is, in Rush Hour 3, cultural differences create both challenge and comedy. By improving their communication and working together, Lee and Carter show that teamwork and respect can overcome any barrier. It's a fun movie with valuable lessons about intercultural communication. From the journey of Lee and Carter, we can see it teaches us that effective communication is not just about words, but understanding each other's cultures and perspective. Thank you for listening, and I hope this presentation gave you a fun and insightful lessons.